The next piece in the Parsha speaks about Shabbos. That even though you're going ahead and building a sanctuary for God, that you have to remember that Shabbos is primary. Keeping Shabbos, observing Shabbos, is what really makes everything else count. If you don't have the Shabbos, then whatever you do, you're missing, you're lacking. Something is out of your range. It just doesn't work. And the Torah then tells us that God gave to Moshe the tablets, and he went back down to the people. But while he was on his way down, or just before he went on his way down, the Jews went and made a golden calf. Now this is one of the most incredible pieces in the Torah, because 40 days before, they stood at Sinai, they saw God appeared to them. They had already had a year of miracles. They witnessed with the 10 plagues in Egypt. That took 10 months. Then they had the splitting of the Red Sea. And now they have manna coming down from heaven every single day. Can you imagine that, not having to go out to work? You hungry? You stick your hand out and go take your food for the day. Give us today our daily bread, right? They had water from a rock, the original rolling stone, which gave them all the water that they needed. They had everything they needed in the desert. The clouds of glory that surrounded them used to clean and press. You didn't have to go to the laundry, to the laundromat, or to the dry cleaners. The clouds of glory cleaned and pressed your garments as you wore them. So they didn't need anything. They had everything handed to them on a silver platter. Because they saw God. They saw the revelation of Hashem. And yet, 40 days later, they made a golden calf. Can you believe that? 40 days? All right? Actually, the Talmud teaches us it was not 40 days. It was, as Gemara in Gittin, on Shabbos, Gemara tells us that when the Jews looked to God, the verse in Song of Songs in Shir Hashirim says, Livaftini biachas me'enoyach. You love me with one of your eyes. One of your eyes was pointed to me. The Talmud says, where was the other eye? It was already thinking about making the golden calf. Not 40 days later, you're standing there at Sinai. You saw God, you went through a year of absolute miracles, and already you're thinking of idolatry. Reb Nosson asked the question, this is like, how could you ever accept this? How could you imagine that they could ever make a golden calf? Even 40 days later, let alone on the spot, they were thinking of it. They were thinking of it. What's going on? And he says, you have to understand that human being is a human being. And he has a Yetzer Hara, an evil inclination. And it doesn't matter what he's seen, what he's studied, what he knows, what he's received, what he's accomplished. Nothing matters. In 1 second, everything could turn around. It could turn around for the good too. But at that moment, it turned around the other way. And this is what the audacity of the people to go make a golden calf at that time, right? They didn't even try to rein themselves in. They didn't even try to bring themselves under control in order to be able to look towards God. And this is the difficulties that we have. And you can't challenge a person. I mean, how could this happen? Right? How can you do something like that? You ever hear a parent say that to a child? How could you? A husband to a wife to a husband. How could you? Yeah, you could. You're a human being. You have a built-in flaw. You also have built-in strengths. You also have incredible strengths within you. And that strength is something you can draw upon, and you can always conquer if you but try. And that's what you have to do. You have to but try. Do your best. Do your best. And that way, Be'ezah Hashem will be able to get out of the sin of the golden calf. Right? Moshe went up on high. He prayed. And Hashem said to him, do you think that if they sin again, I can't forgive? I mean, enough is enough. How many times you want me to forgive you, right? Hashem went and revealed to Moshe the 13 attributes of mercy after the golden calf. Nachman of Turin, who's a student of Rav Nosson, he writes, when were these 13 attributes of mercy revealed? Only after the golden calf was made. Do you think that it ends there? He says no. These attributes of mercy were revealed after the sin. And they could be revealed again and again on a higher level. The worse the sin, the greater level of mercy is needed to rectify it. But it's there. That level of compassion by Hashem is there for even the worst sin that a person could ever commit, God forbid. Right? So we always have to know to turn to Hashem. I'll conclude with this idea of the attributes of mercy. Right? Starts off, there are 13. They start Hashem, Hashem. These are two names of Hashem. Then Kel, Rachum, Chanun, Erech, Apayim, Rav Chesed, Ve'emes, and so on. There were 13, but Hashem is not part of the 13. It's a machlokes in Gemara and Tosfos. But the Arizal says the 13 start after the names of God. The names of God are Hashem, Hashem. And Rashi explains, I am God before the person sinned, and I am God after the person sins. Okay? Now, the Zohar has a very, very interesting observation. He says, if you look in the Chumash, or in Novi, you'll find that there were times God called out to the people. By Yikra Avraham, Avraham, by the binding of Yitzchak, it says, God called out Avraham, Avraham. If you look in the Chumash, you'll see there's the word Avraham, then you'll see a straight line, it's called a psik, a straight line, and then Avraham after it. Later on, that's in chapter 22, in Genesis. Chapter 46, it says Yaakov, Yaakov. Okay? Yaakov, a psik, and Yaakov. In the Navi, in the book of Samuel, Vayikra Shmuel, Shmuel. Okay? Shmuel, psik, Shmuel. Vayikra in Shmos, Exodus, chapter 3. Vayikra Moshe, Moshe. Moshe, Moshe, but there's no psik. And the Zohar asks, what is this? And it answers that there's Kadmoa Loishlim. The first time the name of the person is mentioned, he was not yet perfected. He reached perfection at the second time. So that's why there's a line in between. So Avram and Yaakov and Shmuel, they worked on perfecting themselves. They didn't reach perfection until Hashem called to them the second time. Moshe, there's no psik, right? Why? Because Moshe was perfect from the beginning. He was perfect. So now the Zohar says, okay, We have an answer why Moshe no and the others yes. But in the 13 attributes of mercy, it says Hashem, Psik, Hashem. Hashem, align. What are you going to say? The first isn't perfect. So how can you say that by Hashem? You can't. You can't. So the Zohar answers, the first one is perfection. The second time Hashem's name is mentioned, it's a greater level of perfection. That's what the Zohar answers. Reb Nosson, as want of Reb Nosson is just beautiful. He says, what's the psik? Perfection, greater perfection. Reb Nosson explains that, hey, Hashem is there and you're perfect, you didn't commit a sin, you're okay, Hashem's okay, everything is perfect. But after you blemish Hashem, Kaviyochel, you can't ever blemish Hashem, but it's as if you created a barrier between you and Hashem. You did a sin, Hashem, after the person did a sin. Nosson says, no, it's a greater level of perfection of Hashem, that He will still take you, and He will love you, and He will draw you close, even after you committed the worst sins. And the levels of mercy, of compassion that come out, these 13 attributes, keep on rising higher and higher, the more humanity descends to lower and lower. And you can see today, we have places like ISIS, you have places like Obama we had Clinton, who couldn't keep his zipper up. You have terrible things happening throughout the world. You have the Palestinians, they're always killing and murdering. You have Syria killing each other, 400,000 people are killed already, and whatnot. And yet the world continues to go on, and things keep on getting better and better, right? There's more medical inventions and more things to prolong life, make life better and whatnot. We can see the mercy of Hashem as it keeps on growing and growing. And with that, Hashem should help us that we should merit to see the coming of Mashiach and the building of the temple speedily in our days. Amen.